Hey y'all, Matt Smith back here once again. Another SEC preview video coming up here, and it is the Arkansas Razorbacks today. One of the more pleasant surprises of the league last year. Went 3-7, but had a chance to go at least 4-6, maybe even 5-5. Kind of got screwed out of a win at Auburn on a bad call late. Questionable calls against LSU as well. They were right in that game, so could have been even better than the 3-7 mark they posted. When I think most of us were probably thinking 1-9, 1-9 at best in the 10-game SEC schedule, given they did not win a conference game in either 2018 or 2019. But a really great first year for Sam Pittman. Made two good coordinators hires, bringing in Kendall Briles, who's been around a lot of stops. Of course, started at Baylor under his dad, spent time at FAU with Lane Kiffin at Florida State. And appears to be a really good fit for Arkansas and what they want to do there. And then Barry Odom, who was a head coach at Missouri, really good hire by Pittman, not just because of his defensive knowledge, but because he was a head coach in this league. Pittman, of course, took the big leap from a position coach, being an O-line coach for years at Georgia, at Arkansas as well, Tennessee, UNC, to a head coach in the SEC. That's a big leap, but getting a guy who had just been a head coach and on his staff for, I guess, 4 years, really good call there. That defense turned out to be pretty good despite not having a lot of talent, not a lot of depth. And overall, just a really good first season to build on there for Pittman. So as we start to turn the page here to 2021, kind of one of the big themes we're going to see with Arkansas is that lack of depth that I just mentioned. This team really needs to stay healthy. They got some decent frontline players, but overall, when you're in the second year of a head coach, you kind of have that transition class now as sophomores. Some of the upperclassmen left after the coaching change and the scheme change. So just not a ton of depth there. It's coming. I like where this program is headed under Pittman if he can keep the coordinators there as well. But some injuries could really knock this team down from a 6 to 7 win team to maybe a 4-win team. Because again, that depth just isn't quite there yet. Starting at the quarterback, this is going to be KJ Jefferson's team now. He started the Missouri game last year, that wild 50-48 shootout loss in Columbia. He's gotten rocked up. He's about 230, 235 pounds. Going to be able to withstand the pounding, I think, of playing in the SEC for a full season. Good arm, looked really good in the spring game. We'll see about accuracy. That was not great in that Missouri game. Only completed about half his passes, but had a number of big plays, which really made that game fun late. So the goal for him, of course, is going to be working on that accuracy, intermediate throws, such like that. Don't always rely on the deep ball. If he can do that and create some more methodical drives, I think this offense could be pretty good. Running back, Treylon Smith is your number one guy now. Rakeem Boyd is gone, but he did not play a lot last season, so Smith got quite a bit of work, had over 700 yards. True freshman coming in that they really like, A.J. Green. Good chance to be at least the number 2 guy by the start of this season. So that running game has a couple of good options there in both Green and Smith. The receiving core looked to be really much, maybe the strength of this team after the spring, with a surprising transfer of Mike Woods. They kind of had a 1 and 1A guy. Mike Woods and Treylon Burks. Woods is gone. He transferred. He's at Oklahoma now. Wanted to move up, compete for a title. I get that. Really good player. He'll have some success in Norman for sure. Burks is still there, though. He's one of the best receivers in this league. Should put up big numbers in Briles' system. But now, again, the depth concerns there. Davion Warren might be their number 2 guy. He's coming off a pretty serious injury. Is he fully healthy? Those are the concerns we're going to see throughout this Arkansas depth chart. Because you got some good talent. If it stays healthy, this team could be, maybe even as high as 4th in the division. But a couple of injuries will derail this team much faster than they would an Alabama, an LSU, a Texas A&M. Offensive line, that's Pittman's baby, of course. They were not good last year. And a theme for a lot of mid to lower tier teams in the SEC is a lot of experience on the offensive line, but not a lot of production. So that classic catch-22. You got 4.5 starters back. You got over 110 starts. But they were rough last year. Obviously, a weird offseason with a coaching change. I expect improved play from that unit in 2021. Defensively, that defensive line has hit the transfer portal hard. They got a couple guys they really need to rely on. Markel Hutze came over from Missouri. He's on the interior. Trey Williams, kind of an outside linebacker edge guy, also started at Missouri. He's there as well. So that D-line definitely thin and needs some new faces to really contribute immediately. Not a ton of pressure last year. They were more in a bend but don't break approach. We'll see if that changes for Barry Odom's defense, but I kind of doubt it. Linebacker, that probably is the strength of the team. Grant Morgan's an all-conference player in the middle there. Then a couple of options at the other linebacker position. Bumper Pool, one of the best names in college football. Levi Draper's off an injury. Could be either of those guys. Might be a job share thing next to Morgan, but a pretty good unit there. Secondary as well. Shouldn't shortchange that. That's up there with the linebacking core in terms of the strength of this team. Jalen Catalon's kind of the Swiss Army knife, can do everything. Line up close to the line, pick off some passes. Actually, I have 4 guys in that secondary who had multiple interceptions last year. They owned the 2 Mississippi schools. I believe had 12 total interceptions in their wins over Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Pretty crazy stat there. But that secondary, pretty solid at the top at least. Again, you get into the depth concerns, as I keep alluding to there. But overall, that back 7, that's pretty good by Arkansas standards for a program that had, again, not won an SEC game for 2 years. They really elevated their play last year. A lot of experience back. And I expect a really solid year from that back 7. Looking at the schedule quick, pretty fun schedule. You got Texas rolling into Fayetteville in week 2. That's the big non-conference game. They haven't met since, I believe, 2008 was their last meeting. That was in Austin. Texas hasn't been up to Fayetteville in 2004. But a good old historic Southwest Conference rivalry. Should be a pretty close point spread, under a touchdown. Probably I would expect Texas to be favored by. And a fun matchup there. Rotating game, that's tough. They got Georgia this year in Athens. I believe it's the week after they play Texas A&M. So a really tough slate there. If they can start 3-0 and get that win over Texas, that'll help with what they have kind of in the middle portion of the season with A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss all on that slate. Of course, LSU and Alabama still to come. Finish with Missouri on Black Friday. So Arkansas's always got a tough slate. It's probably top 5 in the country in terms of strength of schedule, given the normal rigors of playing in the SEC West, getting Georgia as the crossover game, getting what I think will be a very good Missouri team, of course, as their annual opponent, and then a tricky non-conference game against Texas. So as far as a prediction, I really wanted to get this team to a bowl. I don't root for teams specifically, but given what they did last year and the surprise, I thought it would be a really cool thing for that fan base to get to a bowl in year 2 by finishing 6-6 or better. I couldn't quite get them there. I have them going 5-7. I do have them beating Texas in week 2. I think with the coaching change down there in Austin, trying to figure out the quarterback situation, I like the stability more at Arkansas earlier in the season to win that game. But with the SEC West schedule, I can only find one win. They catch Mississippi State off a bye in early November, so I have them winning that game. I think the goal should be to get to that Missouri game on Black Friday at 5-6. Thanksgiving weekend, national TV, playing for a bowl game, should be rocking up at Reynolds Razorback in Fayetteville. So that's what I have them. I have them losing that game, though, to finish 5-7 and probably home for the holidays. But 5-7 in year 2, if you would have told me that the day Sam Pittman was hired, I'd say that's a smashing success for where this program was just a couple years back. So that's the Arkansas Razorbacks for you. Let me know in your comments below what you think about the Hogs this year. Reach out to me on Twitter, of course, at MattSmithCFB. Written preview up at southernpigskin.com. Thanks for watching as always, and I will talk to you all soon.